Welcome to Drive Through HR. I'm your host, Robin Schooling. In this week of Thanksgiving, I wanted to share a few thoughts, a few reminders, if you will, that we can take with us into the remainder of the year. There's a persistent myth about Thanksgiving that we all kind of pretend is true, that turkey makes you sleepy. The tryptophan, we say knowingly, as we watch Uncle Joe unbuckle his belt and sink into the couch. Except it's not the turkey. It's never been just the turkey. Why are we tired? Well, it's the 3 plates of food, the emotional labor of navigating family dynamics, the stress of travel, and the weight of trying to manufacture gratitude on command. The turkey and the tryptophan just gets the blame because it's easy. It's easier than admitting that we're exhausted from everything else when it's supposed to be such a joyous time. That's exactly what happens so often in our workplaces. Think about it. We've arrived here in late November 2025, and the signs are everywhere. In far too many workplaces, energy feels flat, people seem fed up, and the PTO requests are piling up. Everyone is just plain tired. And it's not just because December's coming. It's because it never seems to stop. I want to be honest about what the last 11 months have looked like for most people, because 2025 has been rough. You know, as we do every year, we started January collectively, I think, with optimism in our hearts, goals that were ambitious at best and unrealistic at worst. We pushed through those Q1 performance reviews, tried to make sense of the ever-changing business and social landscape thanks to the current U.S. administration, and navigated restructuring or hiring freezes or rifts and layoffs, or sadly all of the above. And then as the year went on, and amongst the sky falling for far too many of us, HR teams still pushed out engagement surveys and then held those painful follow-up meetings where everyone nods solemnly about action items that they know will never quite materialize. Oh yeah, 2025 has been rough. Do more with less, folks have been told, and agility has become the code word for figure it out yourself. Everyone, take a look around, seems to be carrying the workload of open positions, canceled requisitions. Everyone, it seems, has absorbed the emotional weight of colleagues who left. Everyone, it seems, has just kept smiling through those all-hands meetings where the leadership team assures the survivors that things do remain on track. But now it's the end of November. Now people are expected to rally for year-end goals and holiday celebrations and whatever exciting initiatives are getting teed up for January. No wonder people are exhausted. But it's not the turkey. But it is burnout time. And burnout doesn't always announce itself. It doesn't walk into your office and give you a memo. It doesn't drop a TikTok video to let you know it's here. Burnout shows up in the small, quiet signals that are easy to miss if you're not paying attention. Burnout is that high performer who suddenly is just getting by. It's that team member who used to speak up in meetings but hasn't said a word in weeks. And it's your staff member who's technically present but emotionally checked out, showing up not really there. That, think about it, is what exhaustion looks like. It's when people are emotionally, mentally, and physically depleted, yet they're too professional, whatever that means, too afraid or too fatigued to just name it as burnout. And if you aren't watching for it, if you're treating this time of year like business as usual, only, with more enthusiasm because it is the holidays, well, you're not just missing the moment, you might be making it worse. So how do you flip it? How do you show up for your people when they're running on empty at this time of year? It starts, as it always does, with seeing them. And really seeing them means noticing when someone's struggling, even if they're not saying it out loud. It means creating space for honest conversations about workload, about capacity, about what's sustainable for people. It's recognizing that rest and maybe an extra day or two at the end of the year isn't a reward for finishing everything, but rest is rather a requirement for being able to continue it all. It also means letting go of the fantasy that we can push through this, this last quarter, this last month, get one more initiative and one more critical deadline met without human consequences. Because there are always consequences. Turnover for sure, due to burnout, disengagement, and you don't need a survey to tell you that. Even resentment. There's potentially that slow erosion of trust happening when people realize that the powers that be could care less about their well-being and holiday cheer. So yes, it's November. December's coming, and with it, the Q4 push, the holiday chaos, the inevitable year-end post-mortem, that's all still ahead. So maybe, just maybe, we could stop blaming the turkey and remember that there are lots of factors at play that lead to our exhaustion and our crash out on the couch. Maybe we can start admitting that we're tired just because we've asked too much of people. We've asked for too much for too long from too many people. And we haven't asked what they need in return. Because our people, despite the moniker human resources, aren't a resource. They're not a resource to be managed or optimized or pushed to their limit. They're humans. And humans need more than a long 4-day weekend and a homemade pie to recover from a year like this one. Peace out.